There's a moment just before a predator starts to hunt, when time seems to stop. And then, chaos. This young leopard has made her first kill in 3 days. But even though this hyena has stolen her kill, it's not the villain here. Stick around and I'll show you why. I'm Julz. As a wildlife cameraman, I've spent years following and filming animals. I've learned a few things along the way, and I want to share some of my adventures with you. In this series, we're looking at predators. Lions, leopard, cheetah, wild dogs, they're all family favourites. But there's one predator that always gets a bad rap, and it really bugs me. So today I'm going to answer the question, how dangerous are predators? And I'm going to show you why hyenas are not the baddies Hollywood has portrayed them to be. Let's go. The nature of the beast is a phrase usually used to describe things being just the way they are, and it's usually negative. There's traffic in the city, that's the nature of the beast. Your smartphone won't connect to the Wi-Fi, that's the nature of the beast. But in this series, we're spotlighting the nature of these beautiful but complex beasts. We're revealing their secrets and acknowledging their struggles, showing that being a beast isn't a bad thing. Today, I'll show you why this hyena snagging a kill from a leopard doesn't make him the bad guy. In fact, it's actually pretty heroic. Now, I won't name any names, but in some movies, hyenas are portrayed as ugly, evil scavengers. That's not fair. They can be cute, they're definitely not evil, and they're predators in their own right. In fact, in some places, lions are more likely to scavenge from hyenas than the other way around. But before we talk about how great hyenas are, let's set the scene and show you some of the other predators hyenas have to contend with. I'm taking you to one of my favourite places on earth, South Luangwa National Park. Now, I know I've got a Kiwi accent and you probably haven't heard of this place, but we'll be spending a lot of time here, so say it with me, South Luangwa National Park. Got it? Let's go. It's a massive wilderness covering a huge area, but the main action happens around the river. The Luangwa flows roughly north to south, and in the dry season, it's one of the few water sources for miles around. The river is absolutely full of crocodiles and hippo. And there's one of the highest concentrations of predators here anywhere in the world. Carnivores get a lot of their water from blood, but herbivores have to drink, and that means going to the river. It's a tricky balance. You have to weigh up being thirsty with the potential of being eaten. Because all the prey animals come to the river, all the predators do too. Animals like these impala have to keep an eye out. In the water, there are crocodiles, and all around, predators are lurking. We'll follow this impala as it leaves the river and heads to the grassy floodplains where it likes to feed. As it leaves the river, the first predator it's going to encounter is probably going to be lions, lying in the shade along the riverside. Lions are most people's favourite. King of the jungle, heir to all the light touches. They're the largest predators here, and there's a lot of them. In some days filming, I've seen 30 lions. Lions love the shade. In the dry season it's hot, real hot, so they rest up during the day and conserve their energy. One of the questions people often ask me is whether it's dangerous to film lions. If you're in a vehicle, you're actually pretty safe. It's a weird thought, I know, but they just kind of see the outline of the car and don't seem to notice you're inside. Mostly this works to your advantage and you're able to film without affecting them, but sometimes they get too comfortable, and if there's no shade around, you might find you have a lion sleeping in the shadow of your vehicle. And my filming truck doesn't have any doors, so it can be pretty unnerving having a snoring lion just a couple of feet away. Lions are opportunists, which means that if something wanders into their field of view, they'll probably have a go at it. Otherwise, they rest up, sometimes for days, and conserve their energy until they're hungry. And then, it's time to hunt. Lions are ambush hunters. Different prides have different hunting strategies. I've seen prides which specialise in bringing down large animals like buffalo, and those which prefer taking out smaller prey like warthog. They tend to stalk and surprise their prey with a short burst of speed. At top speed, they can hit 80 kilometers an hour, which is about 50 miles, but they can't keep it up for long. So if an impala can get a head start, they'll probably make it out alive. For prey animals, being alert to your surroundings is key to staying alive. It's what keeps you from being surprised. But being alert all the time is actually really costly to animals. Imagine keeping your head up, looking around, ears triggering at the smallest sound. It means you have less time for eating and for resting. And all that stress has got to be bad for you. But if it means not being eaten, I'll take alert and alive over chilled and dinner any day of the week. So our impala has made it past the lions and onto the floodplain, but they've still got one of the most successful predators to deal with: wild dogs. These aren't your regular pet pooch. They share a common ancestor with wolves. Wild dogs live in family groups called packs. When it comes to hunting, these guys are not ambush hunters. They run out into the open and start the chase. Dogs are a lot smaller than lions, but they've got endurance and cooperation on their side. As a team, they can kill prey many times their own size and run down animals over long distances. Whoa, let's just pump the brakes here a minute, because I want to tell you how difficult it is to film wild dogs. When they're hunting, they can move at over 40 miles an hour, so following them is really tough. You have to predict where they're going to be, grab a shot, then drive like crazy through the bush, dodging trees and holes, trying to get in front of them, and figure out which impala they're targeting. It makes them one of the most frustrating but also the most exciting animals in the world to film. For impala running away from dogs, it's not about being the fastest. It's about not being the slowest. Watching a kill is one of the most emotional parts of the job. It's nature at its most raw. It can be pretty gruesome to watch, and even though I've seen it a bunch of times, trust me, it never gets any easier. You just have to try and remember, it's what predators were born to do. And hey, we've all got to eat. People have this mistaken idea that predators are going to eat you as soon as you set foot in Africa. And that's just not true. They haven't evolved to see people as food. So as long as you don't catch them on a bad day, or in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're totally fine. If you're an impala, well, that's another story. But for now, our impala has dodged the dogs, and has made it into the shade of a sausage tree. They love eating the flowers of this beautiful tree, which drop to the ground below. Everything does. These are great trees. They provide food for so many animals. They give good shade, but you have to watch out for the giant fruits, which fall without warning and are heavy enough to kill you. On one of my first shoots, I was just so tired I just plonked my mattress down under a sausage tree and went straight to sleep. A few moments later, a huge pod like a bowling ball landed about this far from my head. I moved after that. So our impala is getting a belly full of flowers. But this is a story about predators, remember? And when you're a prey species like impala, danger lurks around every corner. In the branches above, the stealthiest of predators, a leopard, is lying in wait. In most places, leopards are really hard to spot. Get it? But not here. The Luangwa is one of the best places in the world to see leopards. Along the river, there's nearly one leopard for every 2 kilometers. So here's this leopard in the tree. The impala's on the ground and I'm waiting, camera poised, for the leopard to jump out of the tree and pounce on this easy meal. But here's the thing. Predators are not killing machines. Sometimes you'll sit for hours waiting. The impalas arrive, they feed, they leave, and the leopard just sits there. It's so frustrating. Being a deadly predator is all about balance. You have to decide, am I hungry enough to take a stab at this potentially dangerous, quite large, feisty antelope with sharp horns and a lethal kick? Or do I wait for an easier opportunity? If a leopard is injured, they could starve to death, so it's important they make the right call. Leopards are also one of the most adaptable predators on the planet, so they can change their tactics and go for an even more stealthy approach. In the middle of this floodplain, there's a gully. It's perfect cover for a sneak attack, if you know how to use it. leopard waits till the final moment to make its attack. Success! But she's been followed. And here's our final character, a hyena, doing what hyenas are best known for, scavenging or stealing. And it's true, they do steal from other carnivores. But portraying them as thieves is only one way of looking at it. Nature is more complex than some movies and many documentaries would have you believe. Hyenas are usually seen as the bad guy here, but what about them? They might not have eaten in days. It's not like there's a grocery store where they can just pick up dinner. And it's pretty hardcore to steal food from an angry leopard. I think that says more about their courage than it does about their character. It's also only part of the story. Hyenas are actually really good at hunting food for themselves. I don't buy into this view of hyenas as dirty, disgusting, evil creatures. I've spent months living among them while filming, and I've come to learn they're one of the most interesting and most misunderstood predators on the planet. They're powerful, they're curious, cooperative, and totally hardcore. They're incredibly social, very complex, and full of personality. So hopefully you can see that predators are far more complex than we give them credit, and they're not as dangerous to people as you might think. And hyenas? Well, there's more to hyenas than Hollywood would have you believe. Over the next few episodes, I'm going to share my experiences following and filming hyenas. I'll show you why I love them, and if you don't already, I'm hoping you'll learn to love them too. Next time, I'll be answering some difficult questions about hyenas, like why do they laugh, and dispelling a few myths along the way. So if you're interested, you can keep watching here. Or if you're looking for something different, have a scroll through the Love Nature channel. There's a huge variety of content. If you're feeling stressed, you can listen to some chill music and watch beautiful images of nature. If you need a bit of a lift, there are some great upbeat stories about everything from gangs of lemurs fighting for territory to the curious coconut octopus and its bag of tricks. My pick of the week is here. If you want to see more content like this, please make sure you like and subscribe. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Stay wild. Let us know what you enjoyed in the comments below. Which predator do you think is the most dangerous? Do you like hyenas yet?